So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here at Bandorama. Bandorama is one of probably my favorite concert of our whole school year. It's so unique. We get to see the 5th grade straight into the 6th grade, into the 7th, 8th grade, and then into the high school bands. At most of our concerts, we like to talk about the curriculum, and we try to talk about what we're doing within a certain period of months, or within the year, or how we progress from the previous year. But tonight, you get to see our entire band curriculum in one concert, and you get to hear, hopefully, how we progress from one year to the next, to the next, and to the next. It is, like I said, it is a very unique concert, and it's probably my favorite one of the year because of that. So I encourage you tonight to try and listen to how you hear the fundamentals that we teach and what students learn in the 5th grade, and how that progresses into each year, and how it builds and builds until they wind up in the high school ensemble. So, with that, we're going to start with the beginners, our first-year students this evening. The 5th grade band will be performing Zombie Stomp, followed by Caveman Gets a Haircut, and finishing it off with Surge. Please join me in welcoming Miss Hussey, Mrs. Greenleaf, and the 5th grade band.
I'm one of the band teachers here, and you just saw me crazily waving my arms around over there with the 5th graders. But we just love everything we do here at the Ahern Middle School and Foxborough High School in our band program. We just want to say thank you again for your support. And in case if you don't know, we have an amazing parent group here in town called the Foxborough Music Association, and they do so much to support us in our musical endeavors by buying us clinicians and offering money for lessons and scholarships for students, and we're just so grateful to have the FMA here. And we actually have somebody here from the FMA to speak to you. So if you would join me in welcoming Jen Hoyt to the microphone to speak about FMA.
Thank you very much. I'm going to keep this very brief because I know you want to listen to the music, not to me. Just want to thank the Foxboro Cable Access volunteers, music teachers, students, and parents. And I want to thank you guys in 5th grade. That was amazing, amazing. I am a music parent, 3 kids, 2 have graduated from the program, and my last one is a senior now. So this is my last Bandorama out of, I think it's my 14th. So, but a little bit about the FMA. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to promoting and enhancing the music education experience of students in the Foxborough Public Schools. What does that mean? It means that we fund commissioned works. We fund guest artists, master classes, workshops at all levels for elementary school through the high school. We fund a college scholarship, and we also fund student scholarships, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. But we invite families of students in elementary, middle, and high school to sign up for our newsletter, follow us on Facebook, join us at our monthly meetings, the 2nd Monday of each month, volunteer for any of our committees and events. We're looking right now especially for volunteers for next weekend's MICA Festival. If you can help in any way, even if it's just for a few hours, email us at foxboroughmusic@gmail.com. That's Foxborough with the UGH. We also gladly accept donations to help with any of our programs. But before I turn this over to the 6th grade, I just want to tell you a little bit about the scholarships, the student audition scholarships. So this is for any student grades 5 through 11. We fund, they can use this money for camps, the programs, the summer programs that are held here, SIMC, Jazz Improv. They can use it for things like BISO or the South Shore Children's Chorus, any of those things. We will fund some of that. So how does they do this? It's a live audition. It's good practice, I can tell you, for anybody who's going to possibly be auditioning for anything in the future. And it's fun. It's with the teachers. So they're very nice. They're not going to say anything mean. They're just going to say nice things. And the worst thing that can happen is that, nothing. So any middle school student who auditions will automatically get $25 towards SIMC. The deadline to apply for the scholarships is April 18th at 9 p.m. and they will be held on Thursday, May 1st from 3:30 to 5:30. Information about the scholarships is in the program. If you find the QR code, you can look at that. It's also on our Facebook page, and it will be shared by all of the teachers. So you can apply for the scholarship at bit.ly/2025 FMA audition. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So join me in welcoming Ms. Hussey and Mr. Glynn in the 6th grade band. All right, thank you very much. Well, we're moving just a few percussion equipment over to our 7th and 8th grade combined band. I wanted to talk about 2 things we offer here at the Foxborough Music Program. First is we have 2 amazing summer opportunities for our students. The first is called the Foxborough Jazz Improvisation Workshop, and this is for students, usually grades 7 through 12, though we do often have some 5th and 6th graders who might be really invested in the jazz band that might want to join as well. And it's all a workshop based on learning about the art of jazz improvisation. We host it right here at the Ahern Middle School in town, and we welcome a lot of students from other towns as well. And we have about 20 high-quality professional jazz musicians who come in and teach at our improvisation camp. We have many performances, and we learn how to jam on different tunes, and it's a really great time. If you are able to scan the QR code, you'll see the advertisement for the Foxborough Jazz Improvisation Workshop, or you can find it online as well. If you Google Foxborough Jazz Workshop, you'll find it. The second summer camp that we have here is called SIMC. This is probably the most fun summer opportunity I've ever been to, and I went as a student and still go now. It's a blast. It's our middle school music camp where students can participate in concert band like this. We have a string orchestra program. We have a jazz session. We have small chamber groups. And then the best thing of all, of course, we have spirit days where we dress up. We have a great time together. We have high school students who help out. It's really quite a fun experience, and it's only in the morning. So you come in, you get out at 12:15, and you have the rest of your summer day to enjoy. I highly recommend you check it out, especially if you like music and you like band. This is like an awesome opportunity for our middle school students. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to your music director or me myself or Mr. Glynn, who runs the SIMC camp. It's really a great time, and we'd love to have the students here. The other thing I wanted to mention is 7th and 8th grade students in our programs are invited to participate in the MICA Festival. Massachusetts Instrumental and Choral Conductors Association hosts a festival in the state of Massachusetts for high-quality music ensembles to receive adjudications from professional musicians, often college band directors or retired music directors. And this year, the 7th and 8th grade band will be performing these 3 tunes next Friday right here in the Foxborough High School auditorium for our MICA Festival performance. This performance is at 3 p.m., followed by a clinic from one of our judges at 3:30. Parents are more than welcome to come. There is a ticket fee of $10, but the fee goes right towards the students and making this festival be able to run. You may have heard Jen speak about if you're interested in volunteering at that. We would love, love, love your help. It's a 2-day festival. Our high school band will also be performing at the MICA Festival on Saturday afternoon, and your ticket actually will get you in for multiple days of the festival, just in case you want to come check us out the next day as well. The students will actually be taking a bus over to the high school at the end of the day, and then parents, you'll be picking them up hopefully here anytime after 3:30 after their performance and their adjudication. Great, thank you. So the 7th and 8th grade band, we're going to perform for you 3 tunes. I can't remember the name of them. What's the first one called? Oh yeah, oh my gosh, the March of the Chinchillas, which I think is awesome. It's my favorite song. Okay, and then their piece in the middle is called Jeanette Isabella, followed by another really popular song called Moscow. What's the date? 1941. I should have read my notes, don't you think? Okay, and without further ado, can you please welcome the 7th and 8th grade band in the direction of Mr. Glynn and Miss Hussey.
Alrighty, let's hear it again for our combined 7th and 8th grade band. I wanted to let you know today was their first day playing all together as a group, which is crazy. Okay, I wanted to introduce to you our last performing ensemble of the night, the ones over in the corner over yonder. This is the Foxborough High School Concert Band. They're one of our most unique groups because it's all students in grades 9 through 12 that play. I wanted to give you just a couple of disclaimers and things to know about continuing with band at Foxborough High School. So contrary to popular belief, you can do sports and music. Sometimes people think, I don't know if my student can manage both, and they definitely can. We'll get into that in a little bit. Second, we do not rehearse every day before and after school. We would not ask that of the students. And third is that all Foxborough High School band students can be successful at all things academic, musical, extracurricular, and I kind of wanted to prove that to you today. So I know that can be hard to believe coming from me as an adult, but I thought we would have the students let you know about their lives. So we're going to do the thing where I ask you a question, and then if it applies to you, you're going to raise your hand high, okay? You got that, band? Cool. So let's start off with some musical things. To start off, can you raise your hand if you started with band in the 5th grade? Cool. Can you raise your hand if you switched instruments at some point? Can you raise your hand if you participate in the jazz band? Can you raise your hand if you participate in symphony orchestra? In jazz choir? Very cool. If you participate in senior or junior districts, which is an auditioned group. If you participate in the All-State Festival. Very cool. And then can you raise your hand if you participate in musical things outside of Foxborough High School, like Boston Youth Symphony Orchestras or musicals, things like that? Raise your hand high. Cool. And I thought we'd get into some non-musical stuff because although, of course, we cherish the musical side of students, there are so many diverse parts of their lives that I think are so cool. So, for my favorite part, can you please raise your hand if you participate in sports? Can you raise your hand if you participate in one sport? 2 sports? 3 sports? What if you participate in clubs after school? AP classes. Anyone on the honor roll? Raise your hand high, because you deserve that. Yeah, I would applaud for them. I think that's incredible. Can you raise your hand if you have a job outside of school? And if you volunteer? Incredible. And then can you raise your hand if you are a graduating senior? Great. For our graduating seniors, can you raise your hand if you plan on attending college next year? If you plan on attending a trade school? If you plan on attending the military? And then last question, can you raise your hand for all students in the high school if you plan to be a professional musician or music teacher? A couple students. Very cool. So the whole point of showing you this is to show you that we are here to teach the whole student and not to train professional musicians. And it is cool if they end up doing that, which a couple of them aspire to, but that's not our main goal here. These students are busy, but we think that that's kind of what high school is all about. We want them to try all of the things that they want to do. If you want to do debate team and you want to do jazz band, cool, we'll work it out, for sure. We believe that music enriches the soul, and it's proven that playing music is good for the brain. It improves fine motor skills, encourages teamwork, leadership, compassion for art and each other, and all while being academically rigorous on its own as its own subject. So, without further ado, I do love to brag about these students and how incredible they are. I think it's fair to say that these are the kind of students that you would want your child to be surrounded with at high school. Is that fair to say? I mean, they're incredible. Great, so I wanted to take a moment to introduce Ms. Greenleaf and Mr. Bush, who will be conducting the Washington Post March and Incantation and Dance.
This is a great idea, having me talk after that. All right. How's about incantation and dance? Cool tune, huh? Yeah. Thank you. My name is Aaron Bush. I'm the high school band director here at Foxborough High School. Welcome to the house here. We'd like to, as we switch over before we play our last piece, our combined piece, America, I'd like to draw your attention to a very important part of the program that we include once a year. I'm sorry we don't have printed out programs. There was a problem with our printer, so we have the QR codes here. But I would really encourage you to check out the biographies of the other music staff here. We are so blessed at Foxborough Public Schools to have, in my opinion, one of the finest music staff anywhere in the country. From the beginners, yes. Jennifer Greenleaf, Bobby Glynn, Erin Hussey are three of the most remarkable human beings that I know. Not only are they phenomenal people, they are also phenomenal musicians as well, and educators. And I would encourage you to check out their bios to see what universities they attended, what opportunities they've had musically, what recognitions they've been awarded in their illustrious careers. These are fine human beings, and as Miss Hussey mentioned earlier, if I had children of my own, I would want them to be in Jenny Greenleaf's 5th grade band. So please read those over at your leisure and hopefully recognize the outstanding opportunity you have to have your children be part of this program. It's life-changing. And thank you so much for coming. We have one more piece for you. It is America by Dan Buckvich, and you are about to hear about 300 cats playing their instruments. This is going to be really cool. How about that 5th grade band? 6th grade band. 7th and 8th grade band. Foxborough High School Concert Band.